Hi guys, happy Saturday. Alright, so, lesson 11, we are done with the sex magic. All of my videos have been flagged for it, because it's not appropriate for all advertisers, so, completely agree. So, this is on Astral, everything Astral, so here we go, lesson 11. We're almost done. We're almost done with the book. It's kind of sad. So, Modern Magic by Michael Kraig, 11 Lessons in the High Magical Arts in 2nd edition. I wish I could find the tape that came with this, because I play it, and it's good tape, very good tape. Alright, so, alright, here, we're going to have a little biblical, so forgive me. Little biblical stuff. So, alright, so there's an old legend that when Moses, when he first ascended the mountain, God gave him the secrets of the Kabbalah, whatever. So this told humanity what it could do. Alright, so if Moses was given first the secrets of the Kabbalah, I caught myself, then the Ten Commandments would have been inspired through Moses, not God. So Moses, upon seeing the worship of another deity, I watched too many possession movies, the Archdiocese. It's exactly what I was thinking. So, okay, so Moses saw these other people worshiping another deity when he had descended down, obviously, the mountain, where he was obviously high on hallucinogenics because nobody sees a burning bush. It's sober. That's the truth. So, he destroyed public knowledge of these secrets, saving them for only the high priests of Israel. So, alright, there's another form of oppression, and yeah, just keeping all of it secretive. So when Moses again returned to the top of the mountain, he came back with the Ten Commandments. So these were filled with thou shalt nots, telling people that they must not do. So these people were truly Christian of Israel, children. They were not yet able to accept the freedom which is inherent in the Kabbalah. So yeah, it doesn't add up, does it? Alright, so today most people are still not able to be free. They are infected, literally infected with the various isms, sometimes to their death. The people follow the doctrinal lines of religious groups, political groups, and peer groups, or blindly follow one or more political, religious, military, or economic leaders. Wow, that just summed up the entire United States right here, right now. So, the common person is unable to think for him or herself. Yeah. That's very true. I'm so glad I can think for my fucking self. So this is a symptom of the current Piscean age mentality, and we're not in the Piscean age anymore, we're in the age of Aquarius. So it's a shift, and I fear we will be with us for many years to come. Yeah, it's over. So, but there is hope. There's always hope. So there are some people who are beginning to think, who are beginning to wake up as if they were in a long sleep. So these are the people who are the advance guard of the coming of Aquarian age, and that's what we have moved into, was the Aquarian age. So these are the people who are not members of various dogma-filled organizations, and that is like most of the United States now. I mean, how many people are turning to witchcraft and alternative religions, paganism, earth religions, Wicca, alternative Afro-Caribbean religions, Caribbean, I think that's how you say that word. Caribbean. I like Caribbean. So yeah, so many people are just leaving Christianity because it's too much. I mean, people are killing themselves in, whatever, of Christianity. So that's just, So for the most part, they work by themselves or in very small groups of like-minded persons. So yes, they are the wave of the future and the hope of tomorrow. I would say some people are. In the occult community, I don't know. There's too much, there's so much hypocrisy and so much, crap going on in the occult community right now. Titles, who cares about your title? I don't. Do you? No, I don't know. Do you care? I don't care if you care. about titles, high priest, priestess. Doesn't bother me. So, alright, so, is this an elitist attitude? Of course. And absolutely no. For while there is an Aquarian age elite, if it is not limited to those with money or political power, as were previous elites, so, no, it is an open elite, which anyone can join at any time, and make eddies, ripples, and waves in the oceans of our coming world. And I think the people that are doing that now have more positivity in them, and empathy and compassion for our planet and people. So if you have been studying and practicing the lessons of this course, you are well on the way to becoming a full-fledged member of the Aquarian Age. Are you? I don't know if I am. If you're not already one. But you should not. You must not look down on others who have not advanced as far as you have. Oh, oops. Personally, in my mind I do sometimes, but not, I won't speak that. I won't say that. I just did, so. Okay, so they may one day jump into the future at a rate accelerated even above your own. True. So, alright, it is said that the true deep secrets of magic cannot be told, so it is said that the true secrets of magic are hidden and shown only to initiates of secret occult bodies, such as the Rosicrucians or the Illuminati. Oh my god. And then only after the students have spent years of study and practice and has passed serious and even life-threatening tests. That's not cool. It's not cool at all. So, all of this is true. So from this point on, I can show you no more. I can teach you no more magical secrets. So, yet there are still many pages more in this book. Why should this be? To answer this question, I have to teach you what I consider to be the ultimate secret of true magic. So there are 3 things needed to work any magic. Do you guys know them? Probably. So 1, the ability to raise, control, and direct magical energy. 2, the knowledge of what to do with this energy. Ability does not equal knowledge. So you have to know what to do with the energy. 3, a positive attitude of self-assurance. That's hard. That's a really hard one right there. In the past lesson, so he says, I have described these things and given you exercises and rituals to help you develop all 3 of the above talents. And it's worked. So thank you. Except for the 3rd one. So it is interesting to note that no books on magic ever clearly state all of the above 3 points. So the famous magical texts or grimoires of the past only discuss the 2nd points because they're all incomplete. This is because they weren't meant to be used as workbooks by experienced mages or magicians in training, who already know these things from personal lessons and experience. So if you've been practicing the rituals given in this course, you may have been following an easy, tested system. So this system has taught you to have a good attitude, which is part of the result of working with the tarot cards and doing the middle pillar ritual. No middle pillar for me yet. I'm still very, very scared to do that. I don't want what to happen last time happen again. And now if I did it today, it would happen. It'd become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, it has also taught you many ways to raise and control the psychic energy needed to perform magic. So, and if you have been studying and practicing the techniques and rituals of these lessons, you will also be prepared to take the next step in your magical advancement. So everything is astral. This is where it gets really cool and really good. So the ultimate magical wisdom cannot be communicated to you by any person or group. I'm going to rephrase that. I'm going to say that again. The ultimate magical wisdom cannot be communicated to you by any person or group. What does that say about initiation? It's just a human thought. It's a human thought driven to reach the divine. What happens when pridefulness tries to reach the divine? There we go. Any person or group which claims this ability is lying to you. Each person must seek it individually. So the so-called lost word or secret name of God can never be communicated to you by another person. You must learn it by yourself. One way to do this is by following various systems or schools of magic. You are encouraged to find one that particularly fits your needs. So have you guys found a system? This book has just amped up my traditional witchcraft. It's been amazing. However, if you have been doing these rituals of this course, you should be prepared to discover that information and take the next step in learning the true innermost secrets of magic. If you have been regularly practicing the techniques, exercises, and rituals, you at very least should have or be beginning to achieve good control of magical energy. So, the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, the banishing ritual of the hexagram, the middle pillar ritual, and the circulation of body of light are all techniques which train a person in the ability to raise and control magical energy. So, if you have had made a talisman which has achieved its goal, you have proved to yourself successfulness of your ability to raise and control willed magical energy. I think magical throws a lot of people off. I think the word itself throws many people off into a fantasy, like it's a fantasy world, and it's not, real, or we're just making it up in our minds, or we're delusional, or we're sick. So the important part of this is your ability to use your conscious and unconscious will to control magical energy and put it to use as you desire. So perhaps you've seen books with other exercises on how to raise and control magical energy. Some are very good, but it is my feeling that the repetition of a few basic exercises with millennia of development will work much better than spreading out your personal energies by memorizing large numbers of practices with fewer repetitions of each exercise. So, it makes sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense. So practice, the tarot. Obviously, without this book and the tarot contemplation ritual, I would not be where I am now with the cards. I couldn't read them before. Do you guys remember when I couldn't read cards? I do. And it sucked because I really wanted to. And then, boom, I started to read them. I did the daily tarot contemplation ritual for probably about a year. Still doing it. So a positive attitude, as mentioned, it's really hard, should be being developed as a direct result of the tarot contemplation practice. Like I said, my attitude, I notice that it has become a little more lighter than dark. Not so much, though. Not too much. So its development will also be aided by the study of the harmony of the universe, as indicated by the balance of nature and shown on the tree of life. So the more success you have in gray magic, the more confident you will become in your own magical abilities, and the more positive your attitude will become. Yes, okay, I can totally see that now. My attitude has become very, very positive lately, especially with the workings that I've been doing. It's very, very, very positive. So, when you do achieve something so simple, but it's so profound, I think that's just, it just uplifts your entire spirit and just your body and your mind and your vibration and everything. So, where'd I go? Alright, the more confident you will have become in your own magical abilities and more positive about your attitude. So, there are many books with spells, rituals, ceremonies, philosophy, theory, and information which could help and add to your knowledge of what or where to direct the raised and controlled energy. In fact, I could teach you more, but I feel no need to do so, as it is intermediate information, which we've already learned how to raise and direct energy. So instead, I will teach you how to obtain higher information, the knowledge of true magical secrets for yourself, which I love this. I love how he does this. At first he says, I'm not going to teach you anything else. So if you read that and you think, okay, so there's no more to be taught, and you get a bad your attitude changes, and you're like, oh, no, I want more. Read between the lines in this book. It's perfect. Alright. And where'd I go? Okay. So this knowledge is not available on the physical plane of Earth at all, which is true. So it can only be learned from entities or higher planes. And see, that is the whole initiation thing. I believe in deity and spirit initiation. I don't believe that, another person can make you a witch. And no, I don't. A member of that group, or if it's your lineage, yeah, but no, that's the only, I just think it's ridiculous, all these titles and names. Alright, so sometimes these entities are called aspects of the higher self, the Yechida. Some people call these entities manifestations of God. So that's kind of just how we see it. I mean, I see God as a giant disco ball. And how many mirrors are on a disco ball? A lot. I don't know how many. I'm sure Siri would know. But yeah, that's how I see God. So the process of how to reach and communicate with these entities we will discuss later in this lesson. So he says, I wish to stress that there is nothing to fear from the beautiful natural techniques that you will soon be learning. The best is yet to come. Alright, so we've already experienced very good, outstanding, astonishing results. How much more amazing can this get in our, our magic, our practices? So, where'd I go? Where did I go? Oh, if you look over the hundreds of pages of this book, which you have followed so far, you will know that what we have covered a tremendous amount of material. Perhaps most importantly, I have tried to show you how to be a witch, how to think, act, and feel like a true witch. With this knowledge, you should be able to construct your own rituals and ceremonies rather than being locked into the printed words of dead hands. Oh wow. Did he predict his own death right here? Did he predict his own death here? So with this knowledge, you should be able to construct your own rituals and ceremonies rather than being locked into the printed words of dead hands. That's odd. I find that odd. Alright, one of the most important topics he says I have discovered or covered in these lessons are the applications and methods of white and gray magic, and how to avoid falling into the pit of black magic. Remember, too, that he says I have always maintained that not all authorities agree with my 3 divisions of magic. I gave them only so that we could communicate better, for in spite of what any authorities say, there is no such thing as white, black magic, or gray magic. So to explain why this is so requires some more information. Alright, so magic is neutral, just like a tornado is neutral. It's not here to just kill you. It doesn't come down out of the sky and think, I'm going to kill this person, or I'm going to devastate and kill all these people. No. Alright, so part of the process of becoming a witch is learning to discern reality from actuality. Occultists have always maintained that everything is made up of vibrational energy, and that's scientific thought, or that's scientific proof too. That very, very scientific. Modern scientific thought has finally come to the same conclusion, calling it wave theory. Well, we have wave theory, we have string theory, we have all these theories. What is the other one? Particle theory, astrophysicists. So, yet a wall is still a wall, a desk is still a desk, but a really, truly solid. Both are really, truly solid, so they support the weight of objects. So he says I cannot place my hand through them without damage to the wall, desk, or my hand. That is their reality. Still, both science and occultism insist that the wall and desk and the hand are only vibrational energy. This is their actuality. So what is the actual... what is actual may not appear real. What is real may or may not be actual. A little different. A little different way of thinking. Very different. Alright. Likewise, same things. Some things may appear to be true and may in reality be true, but their actuality may be false. So it is really true that the sun rises every morning, and even in the clouds prevent me from seeing it. Well, obviously. I mean, sunburn every day, so that is the reality. But the actuality is that the earth spins, giving the appearance that the sun rises. In actuality, the sun never rises. It's just the way the earth spins. Most of us will agree that killing is bad and evil, but people who believe that it is, that is so go to war and kill every day. Are they evil? From a magical point of view, I would have to say no. No. They're fighting for our country. The others are fighting for their own countries. So, where'd I go? Okay, so for a true witch, there is no good or evil. There is no morality. Yet, a true witch is usually far from moral than his or her non-magical friends and neighbors, especially those professing to be highly moral. How can this be? Christianity. Yeah. It is because a true witch understands the law and workings of karma. A magician realizes that he or she is totally free to choose to do what is desired. However, the true witch or magician will inevitably choose the path of light, what is called by non-magicians the morally correct choice. So the true magician chooses the path of light, not for moral purposes. Rather, this path is chosen because the magician realizes that whatever is done will come back to him or her. Such is the universal law of karma. But it's not going to come back 3 times as worse. Never. Everything has consequence. So, like, if I heal somebody that's sick, I get sick. It's just one of the things. So, okay, so it is because I already read that. Alright, so thus for the true witch, there is no such thing as white, gray, or black magic. There is only magic, period. So it so happens that because of the understanding of the law of karma, a true magician will absolutely avoid what non-magicians or beginning magicians would call black magic. People who are not aware of the law of karma behave morally because they are given a code of morals or a set of laws to follow. Because they cannot see an immediate effect from breaking that code, there is always the possibility that they will do so. Thus, people who claim to be moral are far more likely to break their own moral code than is a witch who does not believe in a set of laws to govern morality. I like that. Alright. So, are there black magicians? Most definitely yes, but they should never be considered true magicians because they do not understand the functioning of a fundamental rule of magic, the law of karma. So if they did, they would not do black magic. So, yet there is still another aspect to what some people might call black magic. If you were dying of a painful, incurable disease, might there not be the possibility that you would commit suicide? Ooh, that hit really close to home. Some of you reading this will say, yes, it is a possibility. Others will think, no, no way. But there are some moralists who would consider it wrong to commit suicide under any conditions. So I am not trying to encourage suicide. I'm merely saying that it is impossible to consider. Yeah. Oh, wow, I just seen my screen on that, and it kind of freaked me out. Consider an action good or bad, so black magic otherwise or otherwise, unless we know the karmic result of the action. Yeah, everybody has their own opinion on that suicide thing, so I'm not even going to go into that. I think it's ridiculous. Most of us would agree that it would be bad for us to cut off the arm of a good friend. But suppose the arm is gangrenous, and the friend would die if the arm is not removed. It would be karmically bad for us not to help by removing the arm, so of course, it might be the karmically correct time for the friend to go through the transition known as death. Then it would be karmically bad for us to save the friend's life. As you can see, there are many complexities in determining the karmic correctness of an action. This is why doing a divination is important before performing a magical act, which will affect you or your environment. Alright, now, bear with me. There's a little bit of biblical stuff. In the biblical story, Jonah was told by God to go and preach. He chose not to do so, and the karma of that action put him in the belly of a great fish. That sounds a little bit, far-fetched. The karmically correct decision would have been to preach. Had 1,000 people barred his way, it would still have been karmically bad for him not to preach, even if he had to fight his way through those people. If you communicate with a higher spiritual entity, and decide to follow or not to follow the advice of that entity, you will be responsible for the karmic result of your action. If you decide to do something which agrees with the instructions from higher entities and someone tells you no, it is karmically correct for you to disagree with that person and even push him or her out of the way if need be. But remember, you will be karmically responsible for whatever happens, especially because you are a witch. You must accept responsibility for all of your actions, which not a lot of people do. So what you are now is a direct result of what you do today. As you sow, so shall you reap. So discover things from higher spiritual entities on other planes of existence, and deciding to do them is called finding your true will. And St. Augustine, Rabelais, and Aleister Crowley said, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." So, this is not a license for hedonism and what some people may call immortality. In fact, just the contrary is true. So, in reality, it is a call to become more responsible for your own actions, to become united with divinity, and to do God's will. Your actions will require that you ever tread the path of light, and the guide on that path is love. For as Crowley added, love is the law, love under will. I like that. So every once in a while, the sensationalist press will tell us the story of a man who, or woman who did something terrible, such as beating a spouse or a child to death, because their victim was possessed by the devil. And some add that God told me to do this. That's really prevalent right now. It's ridiculous too. So the training in the book does not increase the possibility that you may become demented enough to do such a thing. In fact, it helps prevent it. We are not dealing with mediumship or possession. We will be dealing with communication. Which I'm not sure about possession now. I don't know. I really don't know if I believe it or not. I believe a certain aspect of it, trance channeling, but I don't fully think possession is, I don't even think it's real. So furthermore, there's always a simple way to decide if something is correct for you. You should have noticed that over the past few months, as you have been practicing the rituals and the techniques of this course, your intuition has improved. Yeah, it has. This is a natural result of the rituals and exercises which you have been doing. So if something doesn't seem right or feel right to you, don't do it. It's that simple. So, if you have a feeling that someone you know may be possessed by the devil, and if you have a desire to make that devil leave by doing bodily harm to the person possessed, it is you who needs help. I'm going to read that again. If you have a feeling that someone you know may be possessed by the devil, quote, 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 you have a decision to make that devil leave by doing bodily harm to the person possessed, it is you who needs help. I like that. Where'd I go? Oh, okay. The systems, which I will share with you, are quite safe, since some people are concerned about a direct communication with higher spiritual entities, as opposed to the somewhat indirect communications of magical evocation. Let me repeat here, nothing in this or any other lesson will be dangerous or could cause danger to you or others if you follow instructions. Nothing taught in these lessons could lead you to what general morality might consider evil. There we go. Alright, so he says, I have written on other pages about the little nasties, the astral nasties, and how they can be bothersome. So I discussed earlier in this lesson that when you come into contact with these little astral, or with higher spiritual entities, you should listen to what they have to say. And you may have guessed, I did not mean that you should obey the little nasties. Little nasties being densians of what some people call the lower astral plane are not higher spiritual entities. So what he says is, what I mean by higher spiritual entities are three things: direct manifestations of the divine, the gods, the archangels, and the order of angels. Furthermore, you may need to make tests to see if these entities are spiritual beings they claim to be. How to do this will be better explained later. So I think the questionings, all of that, my experience with the board. So yes, I just take into consideration if I'm speaking to something without the board. I would do exactly what I would do with being on the board. So, alright, so but first, let's look at the entities which, though ethereal and existing primarily on the other planes, are not higher spiritual entities. So, etheric body. So this is an emanation of all created things. It is not the true astral double and is something like a halfway between astral and physical. It sometimes can take on the appearance of a person on a higher plane, but is always attached to a living being. Etheric cords. The more that we think about something, we have an etheric cord attached to it. So if you're obsessing over positivity, that's what you're going to get. It's going to come right back to you. So I really think that's awesome. Now we have the astral body. And so this is the manifestation of the spiritual aspect of a living entity. Again, it is slowly attached to an incarnate being. So incarnate is something that is born. Alright, so when detached, it quickly moves to a higher plane, to higher planes of existence in order to reincarnate. So in this disattached condition, they are too busy to occupy your time. When attached to some individual ego, they can be seen as such. Higher spiritual entities are not linked to a particular ego. Alright, so Azoth. This is also known by the Sanskrit term Akasha. Correct pronunciation is Akash, so Akash, or the astral light. And we learned about the astral light and being intoxicated by it. Too much of it is a bad thing in Eliphas Levi's book. So it appears as brightness and is changeable according to a person's will. Alright, so the past, present, and future can be seen within the Azoth, Akash, but it does not have an independent personality, since futures are only possible futures. Getting lost in the astral light can lead you to ignoring the present. This can lead you to home for space cadets. Ooh, I'm almost there. Remember to keep your feet firmly planted in the present. Artificial elementals. These entities created by human forces are composed of only one element. They are focused toward one purpose, so if you leave them alone, they will ignore you. Depending upon the strength of the will of their creator, they will appear more less gaunt when seen on the astral plane. So, the empty ones. If you live in a large city, these entities can be seen in physical form in the Skid Row section of town. They look human, but they have no soul and no hope for the future. They can sometimes show great humor and daring, but quickly fade into the depths of despair. Their eyes show either madness or emptiness, so these poor creatures also exist on higher planes. Their touch brings despair and fear. That's creepy. Elementaries. So these are the gnomes of earth, undines of water, slits of air, and the salamanders of fire. They are usually improperly called elementals. Although composed of only one element, they have their own will and usually do not bother humans. In fact, they prefer it if humans ignore them. Larvae. Ooh. These are also known as lemurs. Lemurs? It is believed that they live off the essence of blood. They feed, so to speak, on sick or injured people. They can be dispersed easily by a projection of pure spiritual white light. I don't know if that makes sense. Now we have ghosts. I'm Italian, so I believe in bad luck and ghosts. Okay, when the astral body separates from the ego, it normally moves to a position where it can reincarnate. Sometimes a strong desire for the physical world keeps an astral body in the lowest of the spiritual planes. So in this condition, they are known as ghosts. They tend to be quiet, sorrowful, as they refuse to evolve. Encouraging their evolution may or may not be successful, but it will give you karmic brownie points. So the more ghosts and spirits you help pass on, or move on, the better. I'm burning up. Alright, so now we have pseudo ghosts. Alright, so these are not related to true ghosts. They're closer to little nasties. They feed off of energy given to them and will initiate the actions of imitate the actions of ghosts in order to get people to pay attention and give them energy. By reading the astral light, they can know your past and probable future, and thus may appear at seances under the guise of a deceased loved one. So they are more bothersome on the physical plane than on any higher plane. Okay, makes sense. These and other entities exist on the higher planes, so those of a single mind will not harm you unless you try to stop them from their goal. Those connected to these entities on the physical plane are usually too involved with the physical plane to bother you. So there is one type of entity which exists on higher planes which can be problematic. So, your own thought forms. That's so true. Here, form is the key word. On higher planes, thoughts do take on various forms, representing their nature, and unfortunately, you do not have to consciously create them. Think of Zozo. Perfect example. Thus, on higher planes, you may come into contact with ugly, foul monsters of hideous appearance who attempt to stop you from achieving your goals. That would be a Zozo. That is what Zozo, the embodiment of him, or it, is. Zozo, Mama, Jaja, whatever. They are your own fears, angers, prejudices, etc. They will not harm you themselves, for to harm you would cause their own destruction. Because most people are too frightened to examine or even look at the darker side of themselves, most people run in terror at the sight of their own negative thought forms. I'm not going to say anything else. This can keep you from accomplishing your goal of direct communication with higher spiritual entities. How do you get those to go away? You tell them to fuck off. Visualizing a pentagram of bright blue light, specked with brilliant gold flecks, and shooting it out at them will keep them away. So the only way to really get rid of them is to face them and your fear. The exact thing that you would do on the board. Face your fears. Okay, and overcome the negative aspect of yourself which created them. Wow, if you guys can think of how evil Zozo is and the creator of Zozo, that scares me. Few magicians are ever really physically attacked. Through banishings, the attack may be temporarily stopped, but it will not end until the magician has dealt with and conquered the inner source of the negative thought form. So they really don't have an impact on us unless we buy into it and it becomes a mass hysteria. So, a mass projection. So please understand that I am not encouraging you to stay and face the monsters of your own inner self. Monsters which we all have. In this type of battle, it is a wise person who runs away and lives to fight another day. As sometime sooner or later you have to face and conquer your own demons, and you will be happier for it. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. I really like that concept. I mean, it gives a lot on, astral thought forms, the ghosts, pseudo ghosts. It can, give you information, and you can use that, to actually, kind of decipher, whether you're having, poltergeist activity, possession, experiences, that kind of thing. So, alright, wow, we have a lot. We'll go on to a little more on part 2. Alright, so in part 1 of this lesson, we learned and got explained. Okay, wait, I'm going to start that over. Alright, he says, in part 1 of this lesson, I explained that I would teach you how to learn the ultimate secrets of magic, although I cannot teach you the actual secrets. This is because each person must learn them for him or herself, and prove his or her worth and readiness. Also, the secrets are of a very subjective nature. So what may be the ultimate secrets of magic for you might not be for another aspirant. So, yeah, I love it still. There is no room for authority in occultism. However, if you think that you will begin to learn these techniques for the discovery in this lesson, you're wrong. You will not begin to learn the techniques here because you have already begun to learn them from the very first lesson of this course. Up to this time, without dwelling on it, he says, I have been directing you in the method of how to obtain the desired information and secrets. He says, I have not dwelled upon it because some people seem to fear what is represented by 2 small words. Frankly, I cannot understand this fear because the process named by those 2 words is something these people do every day of their lives. However, they do it without control. When this process is controlled by a firm will, something you have been developing by following these lessons and doing the rituals and exercises. However, it seems to scare some people. So this is foolish, as there is nothing to be afraid of from something which you ordinarily do so easily. So it is quite common, and the two words which describe it are astral projection. I think in Insidious, I think that movie really gave astral projection a very bad rap. So don't feel uncomfortable with the idea of astral projection. You do it every time you daydream. If you think you can't astral project, you are. You already are. Alright, and very frequently when you dream in your sleep. Astral travel, which allows you, follows astral projection, is also very common and natural. In fact, you probably had to unlearn how to astral travel when you were a child. It is very common for parents to tell their children not to play in invisible scenes and with invisible play friends. So these were scenes and entities on and from the astral plane. So you may remember some of this type of childhood experience in a very superficial way. Very few people remember their extreme youth in detail, because elders would tell you, come back to reality, and don't play foolish games, and worst of all, quit pretending. It was eventually impressed into your unconscious to forget those invisibles which are seeable on the astral plane. So this process of causing yourself to forget those things, which would be uncomfortable or unacceptable to your current state of consciousness, is what psychotherapists call motivated forgetting. I love my psychotherapist. She's amazing. She really is. Dr. Martin. Yes, Dr. Martin. So, where'd I go? It is one of the reasons why most people remember little of their infancy. So, it was so childish and embarrassing not to be able to walk, communicate, take care of yourself, or even control your bowels that you want to forget. Well, yeah, that part. So as you may recall, he says, I said at the beginning of this course, that your daily ritual practice will become shorter. This is because you will be able to do all of your regular daily ritual work totally astrally. Remember the physical actions of a ritual work to impress the subconscious and reinforce the conscious with what is being done in the astral plane. Therefore, you can begin by passing the physical and go directly to the astral plane by doing the following ritual. We all know this one. I do it all the time, and it's incredible. Astral Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. It really is neat. So, alright, preparation. Until you have practiced this at least 20 times by doing a regular physical LBRP. If time allows, also do the BRH, the Banishing Ritual of the Hexagram. So, step 1, sit in the center of your circle and relax with some steady, deep breathing. And the relaxation ritual. You should be facing the east, your eyes should be closed, and your arms and legs should not be crossed. Step 2. Visualize yourself, or if you prefer, an idealized image of yourself standing facing you. Take some time and get the best image possible in your mind. Step 3. Once your double, frequently called a doppelganger, is complete, use your willpower and have it turn to face the east, the same direction in which you are looking. This procedure should take no special ritual techniques. Simply tell it silently to turn about, and it will. Of course, it should still be standing. Step 4. Now, without audibly saying anything, will your twin to do the entire Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. Your physical body should be in the center of the area, the position where your physical altar would normally be located. Now, try to hear, feel, smell, sense, and visualize everything that your double does. Keep your physical eyes closed. Step 5. Once you have completed this astral performance of the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, you have your double sit in your lap and allow yourself to reabsorb it. Take some deep breaths to unite yourselves. Clap your hands loudly 3 times. I like to use my singing bowl. It just works really good for that purpose. So clap your hands loudly 3 times. The sound will help bring bring you back to normal consciousness. Now you may open your eyes. Postscript. So after you have done the astral lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, be sure and perform the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram physically. So do this until you have performed the astral version at least 30, not 20 times. So the astral LBRP sounds quite easy to do from the description above. Actually, it sounds a great deal easier than it really is. This ritual takes as much or more concentration than any rituals you have done so far in this course. If you find yourself getting lost or falling asleep, just stop where you are and perform the LBRP physically. Simply follow the directions and add nothing to them. Nothing bad can happen to you. So, if you have trouble concentrating to a level where you can do the entire lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram in this above astral fashion, try practicing the following concentration exercises. Alright, so we'll go into that tomorrow. So it's just, it's a total concept. You're going to need a timer and 4 cards. So we will go into that tomorrow, especially on this concentration exercise. So, can you guys perform the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram astrally? Can you daydream it? If you can daydream it, then boom, you did it. So, alright guys. I'm very grateful for you all. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy Saturn-Day. I love you all very much. All the way from Venus, all the way back down. And I will see you all tomorrow. So everybody have a good weekend. And I love you all, and thank you guys for watching.